Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see your beautiful faces. It is so good to be back with you after what feels like a particularly long time away. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. Many of you probably know I got struck down by a nasty virus that's lasted weeks and weeks. And so I thought I would be back with you a little bit sooner than now. But I'm happy to be here today, on this in-gathering service, on our annual water communion, as we start our program year together again this is what will be the start of my 10th year of ministry with all of you. It's striking, really. It feels both really long and really short all at the same time. I am the Reverend Sara LaWall. For those of you that are new who I haven't met yet, it is my great honor to serve this beloved community. I'm joined today by many participants helping lead our worship service with beautiful music from our booth choir, always a great way to start the year. We're so excited to have all of you with us today. A special welcome to those who are joining us on Zoom. Let's turn and wave to our cameras. We're so glad you're there. And if you're able to turn on your cameras, we can see you on our screens. And we'd love to see your faces and welcome you. Helen, good morning. Good morning, Chuck Tate. Good morning, CP. Christina, I see you. That's great. And Mark and Edith and those of you without cameras. Jenna, hello. Amelia and Zach and Jennifer. It's so wonderful to have all of you out there worshiping with us online, reminding us that we are together as one beloved community, worshiping together beyond the walls of this sanctuary. A special welcome to newcomers. I know after having been gone now for 2 months, there are a lot of new faces that I don't recognize, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you and saying hello and welcoming you. And so I invite all of you to stick around who are with us in person after the service during our hospitality time to introduce yourselves to us. And if you're online, introduce yourself in the chat so that we can warmly welcome you. And we have visitor cards, newcomer forms in our entryways, and a link in the chat so you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and so that we can tell you all that is happening in our fellowship. We have a special series for newcomers called Inquirers. It's a series of sessions designed to introduce you to Unitarian Universalism and to this fellowship. And one of our series will be happening today, I believe down at the end of the North Wing. I could be wrong. I'm going to mess things up today, I know. So please feel free to join us. All are welcome. These sessions are rolling, so you can come into any one. There's no official starting session. We'd love to meet you and see you. I have a few announcements, in particular, a very important announcement, exciting, but important for you to remember. Next weekend is Boise Pride Weekend. It's so exciting. I love this weekend. It is one of the most joyful, extravagant, beautiful, celebratory weekends of community. And this is the second year where we are inviting you to worship with us at Pride all weekend long. We will have no Sunday worship here or online. So join us at the festival, at our Pride booth. Stop by and say hi. Come and be in worship with community out in our beautiful city, welcoming and celebrating with our queer beloveds. On Friday, this Friday that kicks off Boise Pride, there is the first ever Boise Trans March. Marches like this have been springing up all across the country. DC just had theirs with 30,000 marchers. So we're aiming for 1,000 here in Boise. We think that's pretty good. First ever Trans March. We'll gather together at 8th and Jefferson at 5:30. We'll march up to the Anne Frank Memorial where there'll be some celebration and some blessings and flowers. So if you're not a marcher and you just want to join the fun at the memorial, please feel free to do that around 6 p.m. Come and support our trans community, our non-binary and gender expansive community who need all the support from this community that they can get right now. This is a joyful celebration of trans and non-binary and gender expressiveness and the pride in being that and being part of this beautiful community. So please celebrate with us. And then for those of you that want a Sunday morning worship service, particularly you early morning risers, you can come and join us at the Festival Park main stage at 8:15 a.m. for a multi-faith worship service and parade send-off. So our worship service will end just in time to send you out to watch or march in the parade with many faith communities participating. Really exciting weekend ahead. I look forward to seeing many of you out there in the park. As is our custom as Unitarian Universalists, we begin our worship service each week by lighting a flaming chalice, the symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We light this chalice with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices across the country on this day, wherever they are gathered, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith. May the light of our flaming chalice today breathe life and love into every one of our UU communities, inviting us yet again into the great calling of this faith, to live into love in these days filled with so many struggles and so much possibility. As we light the chalice here in our sanctuary, we invite those of you online who, if you have a chalice or a candle nearby, to light one with us and share in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. I'm an old hat now. You don't have to clap for me. As we have done for decades alongside other UU communities, we begin each new church year together with a water communion ritual. We lean into the blessings of water to embrace flow and perseverance, to hold our pain and tears, inviting us to find peace and joy and strength and so much more. So I invite us all to rise in body or spirit as we sing our gathering hymn together, I've Got Peace Like a River.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region, including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
We begin a whole new program year and a whole new set of monthly spiritual themes for this year together. This year's overarching framework is the practices of our faith. This framework invites us to focus on how Unitarian Universalism is a lived faith that inspires us to act our values out in the world. It's also a way for us to connect to our new UU core values of liberating love, with each of our monthly themes framed as practices that help us embody liberating love in our daily lives. So for the month of September, we explore living love through the practice of invitation. How does invitation show up in your life? What does the practice of invitation look like? Today we practice the invitation of community, of committing ourselves to this community, a people of shared values with a vision for creating wholeness, healing, and transformation within and beyond our walls. We embody that theme in our annual water communion ritual today, where we will gather up the waters of our lives, the waters that represent this community, whether they are from your summer adventures or your very own backyard creeks, the Boise River, your garden hose, your faucet this morning, or the drinking fountain before you came in. All these waters speak to us of our connectedness to one another and to our planet. The first water communion ritual was created in 1980 for the Unitarian Universalist Women and Religion Convocation. Created by Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview, the two chose water as an inclusive symbol of spirituality. And they invited the women in the convocation to bring water from across the country and share its significance. And of that service, that first water communion service, they wrote these words: "Water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence, acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came, the womb of life, and that amniotic waters surround each of us prenatally. We now realize that this worship service was for a new story of creation, choosing water as our symbol of spirituality and empowerment. Today, we continue this ritual with the waters of our lives, honoring the holy water that connects us all. As we enter into this time of worship, let's take a moment to breathe together. Fill your body with breath, knowing that our breath connects us to our deepest selves, to one another, to the source of life and our planet. Our breath invites stillness, invites us to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. As you hear these words of our opening prayer and poem this morning, I invite you to hear the thines and thous as spoken to that elemental spiritual symbol, water. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
To my river, but my river was dry. The dust rose up to a darkened sky. Tell me where is home? Where do the waters run clear? I do not know my way from here.
Come and stand in that river, current gentle and slow, send your troubles down water, down on that water flow. When you stand in that river, angels sing in your head, secrets beyond every worry, dreams beyond every dread. Tell me, sister, brother, where does that river flow? It flows down to the great water, where soon my people will go. Come and stand in that river, current gentle and slow, send your troubles down water, down on that water flow. When you stand in that river, angels sing in your head, secrets beyond every worry, dreams beyond every dread. Oh, tell me, sister, flows down to the great water, where soon my people will go. Oh, time passes on down the stream. Some days are so much sweeter. Some days, some pass like a dark dream. So come and stand in that river, current, gentle and slow. Send your troubles down water, down on that water flow. Come and stand in that river, current, gentle and slow. Send your troubles down water, down on that water flow.
This is a call to flow as rivers flow, effortless and mighty, to find hope in each other, to inspire each other to never go it alone.
This is a call to new beginnings, to new creations, to new chances to do good deeds, to forgive and be forgiven, to be written into the book of life.
This is a call to offer solace when it is needed and where, to find joy whenever it offers itself up in the here and now of every moment.
This is a call to find your heart's most precious intention, letting it have its wild way with you.
This is a call to come back, come home, come to your senses, come to yourself, come to your whole and holy self.
This is a call for body and soul, for each and for every, to be healed by flowing waters, by mighty waters, by holy, sacred waters that show us the way.
Come, let us worship together. I would like to invite all of our young people up front for our time for all ages to flow, the invitation. Notice how much we use the word invite. And I'm going to have you come over here. Yes, and I'll stand here. Good morning, everybody. There's so many new faces I haven't seen in a long, long while. Everybody's back to school already? Yeah? How's it going? You good? Good. So at the beginning of this month, now with our new theme of invitation, we also have a new Earth teacher. You might remember we were doing that a little bit last year. We're going to start that back up again. Today's Earth teacher is super obvious, I think. I mean, you don't have to think too hard, but I'm going to give you some clues. It makes up 60% of our body weight, and it covers 70% of the Earth, and it is all about today's worship service. What could it possibly be, our Earth teacher? Everybody together. Water. Yes, good job. Water. But water really is so interesting because it's everywhere in so many different forms and in so many different ways. And I believe that water invites us to think about life a little differently, to learn things, to do things. I'm curious if any of you, and Jem, maybe you can be our microphone passer here. What does water have to teach us? What does water have to teach us? Think about this. You know that saying, go with the flow? That's kind of a water lesson, right? Water doesn't resist too hard, it just goes. Goes over, it goes under, it goes around. Sometimes it rests and just swirls a little. Glow with the flow is the water. So that's a lesson from water. Are there other lessons from water that you can think of?
It teaches you how to swim.
Swim? Yes, good, yeah. Right? How to be in the water?
It teaches you to stay together and stay in community.
Oh, it teaches you to stay together. Water often seeks water, right? It rolls down to the place where other waters go. Rivers flow into oceans. That's a lot like community. What else does water teach you? Yes. Jem's gonna bring you the microphone so everybody can hear you. Real loud.
It teaches you, you have to have water to survive.
Yes, you do. So when I think about that, I am very grateful for water. It teaches me some gratitude because it is so needed for my survival, for everything's survival. Animals, plants, the whole planet. What about a rainstorm? Think about water in the form of a rainstorm. I mean, perhaps, I know that when I was young, like you, and it started to rain, the first thing that I would often do is run outside. Do you ever do that? Yeah. It's raining and you're like, let's get out there, rainstorm. Right. So jump on the trampoline if it's not lightning. No, yeah, flips in the rain. Careful, hope you have a net. But yes, when I was your age, I wouldn't have cared about a net. Yes, so what is that we're doing when we're running outside and we're like water and we're flipping in the rain? What is that?
We're having fun.
We're having fun, we're playing. Water can teach us how to play, another invitation of water. So we are gonna work together on all of those invitations today. Play, community, coming together, everything coming together, going with the flow. And so I'm gonna ask your help. We've done this before. We are going to collectively conjure a rainstorm. First, this community desperately needs rain. So we're gonna do our best to conjure it up. I was hopeful it might work this morning when I heard thunder. Now I see sunshine outside. I'm a little uncertain, but we're gonna give it a shot. But we're also gonna conjure rainstorm in the spirit of all of the invitations of water that water has to teach us. Play, community, going with the flow, being together. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna invite you all to stand up and kind of maybe stand behind me so you can see what I'm doing, and then help direct the crew over here. So I'm gonna move back and forth, but maybe you guys wanna just kind of stretch out in one long line so we take up space all the way from side to side here. Can you come all the way down? All the way down, all the way down, all the way down. So there's bodies are facing every part of the front here. And remember in our rainstorms sometimes start quietly, and then they get a little louder, and then they get louder, and then boom, thunder and loud, and that's what we're gonna do in that order. So you're gonna do what I do, and then you're gonna do what they do. Okay? We got it? We're gonna conjure a rainstorm. Everybody just bring all the rain into your body and imagine it pouring down out of the sky onto all of our land and all of the fires that are burning in Idaho right now. We really need that rain. Okay, you ready? All right, we're gonna start soft. Rainstorm's gonna start soft. Start soft. And all of you out there, I'm gonna walk by you and you're just gonna keep doing it until I come by you with a different motion, until I come by you. Or the young people standing in front of you are doing a different motion, so just keep going. Coming down. There's some thunder. Thunder, can you make thunder? Can you make thunder? Let it rain. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for helping, and thank you for offering your ideas about what water has to teach us. That was a workout for me. You'll have to excuse my voice. I haven't done that much activity in 4.5 weeks. Today is a multi-generational service. We're all together today. So if you want to go hang out in the playground over there, do some cool stuff, you can come back and forth whenever you want to participate. We're going to sing a hymn, though. So head back to wherever you want to go with your parents or the playground, and I'll invite all of us to rise and body your spirit and sing together, "There's a river flowing in my soul." That was beautiful. Thank you for singing to me. At the end of July, right before I was coming back into the swing of things in the office, I was finally able to get out into the trees and the mountains and go camping. And I'd been desperate to camp all summer. I thought I had arranged my summer schedule such that we could do multiple camping trips, but all of that was thwarted by the heat and the smoke and a car with a broken air conditioner. So when my friend said she'd found an open spot at Upper Payette Lake, I was elated and so excited to explore a new camping spot that I'd never been to. And off we went. The two of us, my girlfriend and I, each with our 15-year-old boys who are best friends, and our paddle boards and dogs. And we spent the whole next day paddling, sitting on our chairs with books at the edge of the water at a somewhat little hidden spot with hardly another soul in sight. And we watched an osprey catch a fish and bald eagles circle a nest. And we dunked ourselves and swam in the water to cool off when the sun got too hot, immersing ourselves and floating on our backs to look at the sky, even with the haze of the little bit of smoke from all of the surrounding wildfires It was beautiful, and man, did I need it. Camping, the mountains, nature, all of that just fills my soul. I know it does for so many of you, too, with so much needed beauty and calm. And in those spaces of wilderness, that's where the stuff of life can just drift away for a moment, just kind of leaves you. Our last night there, thankfully after dinner, the skies opened up, and it rained most of the night. Now, my friend had brought her own little individual tent, so I got the big tent with the two boys. In the rainstorm, we had a great time. The next morning, it seemed to have stopped, and we emerged and made a piddly fire with semi-dry wood and managed to take a walk around. But then, just as we were coming back and thinking about getting ready to clean up, it started to rain again. And it was just kind of a little rain, and so I dove back in the tent for a little bit, just kind of like, I'll wait it out. Well, no, it just kept coming and coming. And so we figured out we were just gonna have to pack up in the rain. And there we were hurriedly dismantling our tent, now drenched, the ground tarp under the tent soaked and covered in mud. And we shoved things into the car as fast as we could, not caring where anything went, which is not at all like how I like to pack the car, being a big fan of organization. And I remember I just began feeling really tense and really upset and frustrated, somewhere in between annoyed and this anxious, distressed feeling about everything being waterlogged and gross and the mess it was making, and it was ruining our last day. And being someone who prides herself on having an adventurous spirit, the child in me who would have run out arms flailing into that rainstorm, and someone who imagines she's mostly able to go with the flow, I was kind of holding back that frustration internally and a little bit of tears that I felt stinging the back of my eyes. Plus, I was not about to cry over rain while packing the car with my 15-year-old son who would have teased me mercilessly. And not to mention, it was the end of July and fires were everywhere and smoke, and so I know we needed this rain desperately, but I didn't really need the rain desperately. But I knew it was futile. So the rain was coming, it didn't look like it was gonna stop. And this was one of those moments when I had to let the water teach me some things, in which I knew deep down, I had no control over it. No control over what was happening around me outside, but had some control over my inner self and my relationship to what was happening. So I took a deep breath, threw on a hat, and just started shoving things in the car and running things from the table and the tent and throwing the bedding like a bucket brigade to my son, who threw it up in the rocket box. And the more wet we got, the more we started to laugh, like literally wiping sheets of water off our faces so we could see. And when we were finally ready to drive off, fully soaked, feet muddy, I sat in the car completely out of breath, but with this surprising feeling of delight. Delight in the teamwork of packing up the car the fastest we'd ever done it. This might be a new way of packing the car. My teenager being the most helpful in packing the car that he's ever been. Delight in the hilarity of the moment. I mean, all of us, everything, just wet as wet could be. And how I felt inside and out. Muddy, and wet, but also kind of refreshed in a way. Cleansed, if you will. I guess that's a good word. In that moment, I could have stuck with frustrated and grumpy and angry at the universe for ruining my last morning of camping. But instead, I decided to let the water be my fuel, to let it wash away all the ugly stuff, all the stuff that I had let drift off the day before, and let it open me up to some joy and love. Driving away, I reminded myself how much I really love camping. Being among the trees and the water always gives me a new sense of love for life, for this life, for my ability to be able to access that kind of beauty so close to home, and having the kind of life that allows me to get away for a few days to go to the wilderness, and the love of spending time with friends and these two delightful teenagers. The rain offered me healing that day. Healing that I didn't know I needed until it came. It offered me an invitation to get fully present in the moment, which, in all honesty, is not too hard when you're drenched and feel it everywhere. And the rain invited me to focus on love, which, when I think about it, is what often happens when I am in or near water. Whether I am sitting on the beach looking out at an ocean, sloshing through the shallow riverbanks of the Boise River, submerging in a hot spring, even in the shower. Water kind of has this power to wash away the yuck and the stuff, literally and figuratively, if we let it. It can wash away the stress, it can wash away loneliness and fear and despair. All those things that we carry around with us, understandably so, but that aren't always helpful to be with us 100% of the time. Those things that don't always serve us, those things that we use for armor to protect our weary hearts, but that don't allow that spirit to flow through us and in us, like the hymn we just sung invites. And when we pause long enough to let all that stuff be washed away, we make space for love. For the kind of love that we seek to hold at the center of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The kind of love that grounds us and sustains us and nourishes us just like water. The kind of love that, like water, we cannot live without. That fierce love of the world, of humanity. That deep neighbor love that allows us to honor differences as strength, to see the beauty and the possibility of the world and to point toward hope. The kind of love that is the driving force behind imagination and transformation. This kind of love offers its own kind of healing, inviting each of us to reach out and grab hold and pull it into ourselves, to take up as much space as we can allow it, such that it is overflowing and we can't help but give it away. Much like the water, love becomes that vital life-sustaining force. One of my first mentors in ministry, the Reverend David Miller, who serves in Fairfax, Virginia, shared this reflection on answering the call of love that we hold at the center of this faith. He writes, "We are currently living in times baiting us not to love. The social and political atmosphere in which we travel insidiously tempts us to find fault, to place blame, to point fingers, and increase that which tears us apart. And yet, we practice a faith, often imperfectly, because we are, after all, human, but we continue to practice a faith where we are called to answer the question, what is the most loving thing I can do right now? What is the most loving thing I can do right now? And that is why we gather together here in community every week to explore all the wonderful, beautiful possibilities that might answer that question, what is the most loving thing I can do right now? And then we invite each other to go out into the world and practice living our answers. And that's why we begin our year together with this water communion ritual, gathering up our own healing waters, our waters of life, our waters of love, the waters that hold our pain and tears and blessings and peace and strength, all swirling together in this river of life. And we gather up those waters into one vessel to remind us. I think one of our children said that answer to the what does water have to teach us, to remind us of coming together, of being together, of how we encounter one another, how we show up in community matters. We share so much more than we realize on this journey of life, on this planet together. We are each our own flowing river meeting together in a vast, mighty sea. So we collect our waters, we will bless them collectively, and they will serve as the community holy water for the year, our year together. But today we have two rituals for you today. The gathering of our waters up here, up front, and then an invitation to healing, to letting the water wash away whatever it is you need to release in this moment. So at the side of the sanctuary by the doors are vessels, and when you came in, you were given a small piece of paper. Maybe not all of you, maybe you could tear in half and share with a neighbor if we didn't quite have enough. And this is dissolving paper, so you're invited to write a short word or phrase of something you want to release and then drop it into the vessels of water and let it dissolve away. And you can do these rituals in any order that you like, starting with the vessels or bringing your water up front. There's no wrong way to do this. If you forgot your water today, we have some small vessels for you. We'll do this one last. We have some small water vessels here and another jar here. You can just add a little bit of water to represent you and your life and your blessings that you're bringing into this community. So before we start this ritual, and for the folks at home, you're invited to participate at home. You can fill a small vessel with water in your home and offer it up to a collective blessing, write a healing, a release on a piece of paper, and just let it float in the water. There's no wrong way to do this. Let the Spirit move you. Let's all have a moment of taking a breath together to hold your water, think of the healing that you want to read, what you need to release, and you can come up as you are moved. Wow, that timed out just perfectly. Beautiful. Into our collective vessel, I add the water that has been collected and added to this vessel that sits in the minister's office that must contain 36 years of collected water. So we always add a little bit into the mix there with the decades of folks who have added their water in. As our choir comes up to join me for our blessing, you are invited to join together as we collectively bless our water. Gathered, collected, representing the rivers of life that make up this community of love and hope and transformation. We are invited to, we're going to do a blessing of the water, naming it as sacred and holy together by our collective hands, hearts, and minds. You are invited to repeat the phrase, "This water is sacred," after each voice shares a blessing. Let's begin by trying that together. This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it, in this unique moment, connected by commitment and faith. This water is sacred.
May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts each of us brings.
This water is sacred.
May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change.
This water is sacred. May it purify, offer grace to our community, and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes.
This water is sacred.
In moments when we are confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment.
This water is sacred.
In moments when the reservoirs of our hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love.
This water is sacred. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and the world. May it be so. Yes, let's say it again. This water is sacred. So, thank you.
River,
so many pieces of this. When we give, we say yes to the invitation of abundance in our lives. And we also say yes to the invitation to keep building beloved communities within and beyond our walls. We commit ourselves to do work for justice and compassion for all people and our earth. Today, we share those gifts with our plate partner, Citizens Climate Lobby of Boise, as an expression of that commitment and living out our faith in the world. I invite the ushers to come forward. Our offering will be gratefully received.
I invite our ushers to bring our offering gifts forward and invite all of you to join together with me in our collective blessing of this offering. We bless these gifts, so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. I invite you now into a time of prayer, reflection, and meditation. When we pray, we are tuning into that deep well of love that resides within us, allowing it to fill us up and then directing it outward for the people and places in our lives where that love is needed. And sometimes our prayers are still and quiet, and sometimes they are loud and musical. Today we're going to use our bodies to connect with our prayerful selves. In the spirit of water communion, we're going to do a water-inspired body prayer that you can do while seated. So I'll talk it through one time together, and then I'll let you go on your own 2 more times after that. For my young friends in the playground, we're going to do a prayer with our bodies. So if you want to follow along back there, please feel free to do that. It's kind of a fun way to do it. So let's begin by taking a breath together, finding that spot in your chair, sinking into your center, tuning in. And with your hands, in whatever way you are able, I invite you to reach down as if you are reaching into the water, gathering up the waters to your heart, holding them there for a moment, and then sending them out in waves out into the community, to the world, and then coming back with a hand over your heart, your right hand over your heart, And your left hand on the shoulder of the person next to you, or up if there's no person next to you, or up if you prefer up. As a way to connect with beloved community, to remind us that we're all connected. So here we go 2 more times, down into the water. Gathering up the water, the blessings, the love, all that water has to teach us into our hearts. And sending it rippling out beyond this space. Reconnecting with ourselves and with this community. And one more time, down into the water. All of the blessings and the love and the invitation of water into our hearts. And sending that back out beyond the walls where it's needed most. Returning to ourselves, to our own hearts, and to the connection with all that is. Breathe here for a moment. Blessed be. Oh my goodness. Thank you, choir, for that healing music. Friends, I invite you to rise as you are able and place your hands over your heart for our closing blessing. Today we shared in this communion of water, healing waters, mingling our lives and hopes and dreams into one common vessel, blessing it and naming it sacred. Go forth, but return here to the invitation of this beloved community, where peace flows in us and among us, where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, finding the courage to hold on, where joy bubbles, where love overflows, where we can be renewed again in community, in the stream of life. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.